What an immense journey from the ornamented Buddhist ragas of India to Christian plain song. Halfway along that path, on the island of Crete, we find a connection in this version of a 1,000-year-old ballad celebrating a warrior's struggle against the infidels of Islam and against death itself. In Spain, Moor, Christian, and Jew had retained a remarkable coexistence for centuries. The Moors, intelligent and pragmatic, had permitted some Christians to pursue their faith quite openly, especially here in Toledo, while neatly extracting from them a fairly substantial tax in return for their tolerance. These Christians developed a form of plain song called Mozarab, or mock Arab. The solo voice is decorated gently in the Moorish style. Senor José Luis Ochoa is Spain's outstanding expert in this particular music. Et murus pariter dissipatus. The sound that carried the Christian message for over 1,000 years shared the same impulse and intention as that of all great religions, the worship of the universal. Here at Salisbury Cathedral, the sound is different, but the message is identical, and it still has the power to move us today. Echoing within its vast spaces resounded the voices that were the beginnings of the growth of Western music. Plain song remained a single melodic line sung in unison, as in the tradition of the Middle East. The unity of many voices singing as one was first codified through the efforts of Pope Gregory in 600 AD. This sound was in part a reaction against Rome with its blaring fanfares. Even the organ was not allowed here at first. The Romans had used hydraulic organs in the Colosseum and other places of public entertainment. Here, this was considered pagan and rather vulgar. In medieval times, the organ was at first restricted only to the court. The break with the single voice came slowly to the West. In Romanesque churches of the time, a new sound was being heard. Sit gloria Domini in secula letavitur Dominus in operibus suris. These voices no longer moved only in unison or at the octave. They added another voice in between, at the fifth, which followed like a shadow, as the others had, moving in exact parallel. Perhaps it started as an improvisation to accommodate different voice ranges. Sit gloria Domini in secula letavitur Dominus in operibus suris. It led to a new and more daring invention. Rex ei Domine maris undison, litanis nitidis qualique son. Two separate voices, moving apart, coming together again, moving apart once more. The idea may have originated with the popular tradition of the day, but we cannot know for sure because that music was not written down. As architectural techniques became more and ever more sophisticated, the smaller and very beautiful Romanesque and Byzantine churches were giving way to the more Gothic cathedrals such as Chartres and Canterbury. In their imposing interior spaces, musical instruments were finally readmitted to accompany plain song, and the sound on feast days must have been truly glorious. The daily grind of the peasants bound to the soil may seem as immutable as the life of their cattle, compared with the lords and their manors, dedicated to the perfection of the arts of battle. Throughout this entire period, Western life had in fact suffered many and appalling upheavals. In 800 AD, Charlemagne was crowned emperor, and a semblance of authority and harmony began. Yet throughout history, the centralizing of power has brought about the downfall of the previous, more elegant civilization. In 1096, the first of the Crusades began. There was great jubilation when word came of the fall of Jerusalem to the Crusaders in 1099. Throughout the medieval period, Europeans in great numbers made the perilous pilgrimage to another holy city, Santiago de Compostela, in northwestern Spain. Here at Burgos, and at intervals along the road, monasteries sprang up to shelter the faithful. The pilgrims shared the ideas they brought with them from so many regions of Europe. The trail became a great cultural melting pot.